everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And I had a request to do a flip through of my Dephemerember 2022 journal, which is going to be an idea and inspiration journal of ephemera that we made during the month of December in collaboration with 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Heinzel at Junk Journal Art. So I waited until I was all done with the challenge and had made all of the ephemera before I made the journal cover. And if you're interested in knowing how I made the journal cover, I do have a video of that process, which I will link down below in the description box under this video. So it has 3 signatures and it's made out of wallpaper strips that I collaged onto a big sheet of copy dyed paper. And then I put some lace that I spray inked with some wild honey and peacock feathers. And then I took the Dephemerember and 2022 and I just used my connectable stamps to stamp that onto some paper and then embossed it. So I have it tied with a chindi rug, a piece of a chindi rug, some fabric from it, and it's really, really pretty. I really like it. Okay, so the challenge ran for the first 25 days of December, and the items that I made are not in chronological order inside the journal. But here is the list of what we were challenged to use on every day, and each day also included an animal that you didn't know until that day. So when Barbara at 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Heinzel revealed what the animal was going to be. So we'll just go through this and I'll show you everything that I made. And like I said, it's not done in chronological order at all. Well, actually, I'll leave this out. Okay, so this was for day 5, where we used a number or a sentiment and a ticket. So I made, and the animal was a bumblebee. So I made this little envelope out of some recycled art that I had, and I used some texture paste to make the honeycomb, and then colored it with some distress ink in wild honey. And then the numbers are on the tickets, and then it's an envelope with a pocket inside. There's nothing in the pocket right now, but there could be. And like I said, this is just an idea, a book of ideas for me going forward, inspiration for things that I can use throughout the rest of the year. And this page the animal was a mouse, and it was day 20, and it was for grunge and a snippet strip, and the animal for that day was a mouse. So I made this snippet strip just out of scraps, and I took some paper and crumpled it up and stained it, and then sort of turned it into bows, I guess, if you will. And I wasn't going to use this mouse, even though I had fussy cut it out of a book. I wasn't going to use it originally. I found these instead on this, so I made a little journal card with these mice on it, and it says "a beautiful mess" on here. So just a little journal card. But when I was putting the journal together, I found this again, and I fussy cut it a little bit more and tucked him in here, and I just think he looks so cute. So, and I also made this belly band to match when I was putting it all together. And I love the fabrics, and I did the same thing with the paper and added some buttons. And then the background here is a collage dictionary page with some white gesso, things like that on there, with some washi tape. And then I added some quotes from Charlotte's Web here. And I just really like the way this page turned out. So this page here is from day 6, and the animal was an elephant, and the the prompt included feathers and a bingo card. So this is a bingo card underneath here. And I used butterfly wings behind the elephant, but I also wanted to put a map of Africa, since that's where the African elephants come from. And I embossed it with some distress glaze, and then just embossed this with just regular embossing powder. Actually, I think this one was the frosted crystal. And then some Tim Holtz flowers, and then this is a pocket. And then again, when I was putting the journal together, I just made a little tuck spot over here. And I was drinking a lot of tea during this process, since I'm drinking mostly tea now. So I took some of the tea bags and incorporated them inside and made some little journal cards to fit in there. And then I stenciled some feathers over here just to show that I could make feathers if I wanted to, but I liked using this eyelash trim as a sort of a pretend feather. And then this page is just one that I added the pocket and these little children from an old replica of a Sears catalog. And this prompt was for day 22, and it was for water and an envelope insert, and the animal was a hamster. So I spent some time today taking out all these animal cards, which I did not print out until after the Dephemerember challenges were all over. I wanted to use my own animals, and but I knew that when it was over I was going to print them out, and then I sort of put a recipe on the back of each one to show how I made each item so that I wouldn't forget. Even though I could go back and look at my videos, it's just easier just to have a little quick reference guide. And I do have videos for every one of the prompts that I made. So the prompt for this day 22 was water and an envelope insert. And so I made this little guy with the hamster on it. This is a first day of issue envelope. I scored a whole bunch of those at an estate sale, and I looked them up. They're not really worth anything, so I thought, why not just use them in the journal? And since the day was for hamsters, this one had a hamster on it. So I made a little pocket out of it and sprayed it with water to give it some of the oxidation on there. And then the other side is a flip up. There you can see a flip up journal spot. So that's that day. And I'll take these cards out so I can get to them when that day comes. But this is just something I just collaged on it and just kind of wanted it to match a little bit on this side. So this one, the paper doll here, is from day 23, which was for a flower and a paper doll and a monkey. And I am not a fan of monkeys at all. I had some bad experiences with them when I was in my younger years. But I did find a tamarind, and I thought he was really cute. And he came from an art quilt book. That's what it was, art quilts. And so I made a little journal card here, and I made the paper doll with some flowers, and she came from a pattern envelope. So I can put that one away now. And then on this side, this was for day 25, and this was for ATCs, or artist trading cards. And the animal for that day was a bird. Now, the ATC cards, I guess that's redundant, ATCs are specified to be 2.5 by 3.5 inches, but one of the prompts was to use leather. And I didn't really know what to do with the leather, and I had never made ATCs before, so I sort of illegally, but I didn't know it at the time, added the tabs, and they stick out, so they wouldn't really work for ATCs. But I have a little label on the back anyway, like a regular ATC would. And so I I Mod Podged some tea bags and made pockets for each one of them, and then created these little tags, like this one from a real tea bag. And just put, use my connectable stamps and put some little sayings on them. And this one can go back. Okay, but I love the way this page turned out. Okay, so the next page, this one didn't have anything to do with this particular challenge, the Dephemerember challenge. This was a challenge um, to create a collage symbolizing the first verse of the song Penny Lane by the Beatles. And so I had some extra pages in this journal, and so I thought, why not? Why don't I use that? So we have the barber showing photographs of all the heads he's ever known, and the people come and go, stop and say hello, and the banker stands on the corner by his motor car, and the children laugh at him behind his back. So I just did that, and I used a replica of a real receipt that I have from like the late 1800s, just to show that it was from a banker. So that's not Dephemerember related, but it's in here anyway. It's my journal. I can do what I want with it, right? All right, so this one was for day 17, and it was for a bookmark and rust. And I didn't have anything rusty, even though I tried to make something rusty. So I used some grit paste and some rusty hinge ink to kind of give it that rusty looking feel. And the animal was a moth, and so there's some moth specimens in here, and then I added some more moths that I fussy cut and used some of the frosted crystal to make it look like they were really feathery wings. And it's just a little corner hugger bookmark, and it goes right on here. So this one was really fun to make. I'll tell you, I really got my grunge going when I was working in this journal, because there were a lot of elements that required grunge. So there's lots of space in between the signatures because they were so fat. When it's closed, I really need that space. So I just added this little cluster, I guess, when I was done putting the journal cover together, because I had some leftover wallpaper. I had to do some book surgery to create this journal cover, because the collage that I had, it was like a masterboard that I made a long time ago, and it wasn't quite long enough to fit around the journal. So I had to do some surgery and put an extra piece in here that I cut off of the bottom. So this was what was left over from that, and then this piece was left over from the collaged strips that I have on the side to make tuck spots. And I do have a video on doing this process with calculator tape. Okay, so we're going on, and I combined 2 days worth of challenges on this one, because it's really hard to do a video every single day. And this was days 7 and 8. And the animals were a bear and a butterfly. And the prompts were a handwritten memory and a loaded tag for day 7, and beads and a postage stamp dangle for day 8. So like I said, I combined these two, and I had this little flip up thing that I had for a long time, but I hadn't done anything with it. So I just cut it into a tag shape, and then made a little notepad out of it. I figured it could be loaded with paper. It didn't have to be loaded with other tags. And then I put some eyelash trim on it, and since I used the Sleepy Time bear, I decided to make it a tea theme, and I made a little tea bag flower. And for the video for this particular day's project, I show how to make that little flower. And then a bead dangle and Queen Elizabeth on the tea dangle to show, who better to epitomize tea. And then so here's the bear, and then I have a butterfly stamp from Bhutan. And then I just put on the back for the handwritten memory, Dephemerember 2022, days 7 and 8. So, and then to kind of carry on the tea theme, I used paper from a decorating book, and this I collaged this page with the doily and some napkin, and then use some scrapbook paper here for the belly band and some tea embellishments, just to kind of carry the theme. Okay, so these guys can go back. All right, this one was one of my favorites. This is day, here we go. So this was day 4, and the prompt was recycled art and a coin envelope. So here's the turtle down here. I don't know if you can see it. See the turtle? So she's standing on the turtle, and there's also a rabbit here, and I left the rabbit on there. And then this is a coin envelope that I made from recycled art from a page that I'd been experimenting with inks and oxides, and I just made a background page, and then I made a copy of it and then added some stamping to it. This is my granddaughter, Maddie, and I have Be You Bravely on here because when she first went to ballet when she was young, she was really shy. And she hid behind her mama's legs for about the first 2 weeks before she would venture out into the group, into the class to start dancing. So she had a little slow start, and that's why I have her standing on the turtle. But then she sprouted her wings and became an amazing dancer. And she's 15 and a half now. She has her permit, but she's still dancing, and she is absolutely gorgeous. She's an inspiration to me. And then over here on this side, let me put this guy back. Okay, on this side we have day 21, and that was button and tea bag. And so these pockets are actually tea bags that I Mod Podged and actually turned, quite transparent. And then so I just added some vintage photographs in there because I thought they looked cool. And then the animal was a kangaroo, so I used some of this animal print fabric and cut out a kangaroo, and so it's right here. The buttons, I have some handmade buttons on here and a regular button, and just a sentiment that says, remember this. So that was a fun project. Some of these projects really stretched my creative imagination. So over here, this is day 2, and that day was for splatters and a playing card. So I have, day 3, I'm sorry, bright color and journaling card. So and the animal was a penguin. So I have an emperor penguin here with a little baby, and the dads actually raise the chicks. In fact, they incubate the eggs and raise the chicks. So they kind of take turns with the mom, but they incubate the eggs. So I thought, since it was a penguin and they live in the Arctic, I took some snowflakes. I have a book on snowflakes. The whole thing is just blown up snowflakes. I picked it up at a thrift store. I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it's cool, and I think I should have it. So I fussy cut out these snowflakes, and they were all black and white, but I colored them in with, what did I use? Oh, I inked them. I think this is peacock feathers, and then I embossed them with frosted crystal to give them kind of a little shimmer, and then put them on this journal card that I had covered with snowflake tissue paper, like wrapping tissue paper, and then made this little journal card, put some stitching on it. And I thought, since it's snow, when I was done with the prompt and I was putting the journal together, I cut these birds out of a book that I have on birds. I just love the artwork in it, and so they're kind of cuddling together underneath this umbrella in the snow. And then I just collaged napkins on the pages, and this is one. It has what I call a lady board underneath it that I sewed to this page, which is a map. Actually, no, the calendar. This is from a calendar, and I do have a video on how I made the lady boards as well. And then I just made this little belly band here. This is from a chindi rug with some sari silk braided, and then some flowers and buttons on there just for some color. So that's the center, and I took this off of a calendar, and I just really liked the dandelion that has ice crystals on it. I just think that looks really pretty. I haven't put anything else on there yet, and I probably will. Okay, so this is the giraffe one. This is the splatters and the playing card. And I took 3 playing cards and collaged on them. And then from that art quilt book that I was mentioning earlier, I fussy cut out some giraffes. And then I made this little, I don't know what you call a little twisty card thing. And I used some really old thin book page to collage onto it, and then did some stamping. But what I have my sentiment on here, I cut out of a dictionary. It says, when they go low, you go high. And that's a quote from Michelle Obama that I just think is really cool. And then on the back, you can see the playing card behind here, where this one was an ace and king and joker. And I basically just stamped on them and used some gesso and sewed on. I sewed around these pieces of paper, scrap paper, for little journaling spots. And then I made an acetate pocket to put it in because I want to see it. And then this giraffe came from an old Golden Book encyclopedia. And this was the one I was going to use first. And then, like that mouse I showed you earlier, I decided not to use it, but then ended up putting it in the final project, in the final journal. And then this is another one of the lady boards that I just sewed onto this calendar. Okay, so on this one this is the dragonfly, and this is day 24, and the prompt was coffee or tea and a specimen card. And this is watercolor paper, and I had tried to copy dye it, but it was really light, so then I just used some vintage photo and stenciled on it. And then I also have this little hidden journal spot that you can add. And this part right here is another one of the tea bags that I Mod Podged on. And I stamped on the dragonfly and then just colored it with watercolor pencils. I think it came out okay. And then created a pocket, little four pocket from book pages, just to hold some of these cards and some other things. And I tried to write on the backs of my cards how I created it, how I created the prompt, just so that I would have that reference in the future. And then another page from that decorating book, and I just really like the vibrant colors here. And then I put my giraffe card in this pocket. Okay, and this is the last signature, and this one was raccoons, and it was day 16, and the prompt was packaging and an index card booklet. So this piece right here that I created, made it to a belly band, came from a holding, I bought some bookends, and they metal bookends, and it was like the wrapping around on there. And then so I covered it with some scrapbook paper and made punched a hole in it with one of my punches, and then added some acetate for a window, and then made this little booklet out of an index card, a big one, like that big. And then so I have raccoons on the front and some poetry on the front of it too, backed with burlap, and then some raccoon tracks on the back. And then it's inside just got some copy dye paper, and I just used some corrugated cardboard to make the lines, and then I just took a metal lid and made some circle stencils or circle marks, and then added a little raccoon here. because he's cute. It's one thing I miss since they developed the property next to us and behind us. We don't have raccoons anymore, and they were kind of cute. I saw baby raccoons coming down from the trees the first day we moved in here. Oh, so cute. Okay, so this is let me see if I can get these out here. Okay. This project was also a combination of 2 days, and they were days 11 and 12, and the animals were a rabbit and a toucan. So what I did is I should tell you what the prompt is. Day 11 and 12, handmade stamp and a jumbo tag and lace and a postcard. So what I did is I made this jumbo tag, and the handmade stamps were just some cutouts. I used fun foam, adhesive backed fun foam, and used some dies, some Tim Holtz dies, and cut them out and and then just stuck them onto lids. Let's see if I can find one. On canning jar lids, because I don't can anymore. And just made these stamps out of them, and they came out okay. I'm not unhappy with them. And then so these ladies in my head are going on an adventure, and since it is days 11 and 12, I have a very old diary from the 1970s. It's a 5-year diary that a gentleman wrote in for every year, and I found it at an antique store, and then also an old set of desk calendar pages from 1954 that I also found at an estate sale. So I put those on here to show what days I did it, and then I made a postcard and then put some toucans on there. And then for the bunny, I used that stamp. So I made this postcard. I have a stamp that makes them. And then I used another one of my handmade stamps for this branch. So they've got these toucans on here, and I figure, well, maybe they're going to South America where the toucans live. So they have a little bird guide here for the toucan. So anyway, that's how my imagination works. And then the lace kind of forms the bench back. So I think I got all of the prompts on this one. This bird guy needs to go behind this. It has a pocket back here. And then they've got their ticket here for wherever it is that they're going. And then again, I made another acetate pocket so I could see through it and see what was inside. Okay, this side, this was day 1, and it was fluff and a mason jar and a hedgehog. So what I did was I hand drew a mason jar, and it ended up being too big for this page. So I copied it and then shrunk it down. And so ended up with this, and I just think it turned out really cute for never having drawn a mason jar before. So I put some acetate in there, and it's 2 pieces of cardstock. Okay, and so I took my X-Acto knife and I cut out a little window area, and then on the one underneath this, I put some fluff, which is this eyelash trim, and a little hedgehog. I hope the glare's not getting you. Oh, it is kind of. There, maybe you can see that better. Put it down here. So, and then I put snow on here, and that is from, it's texture paste, or grit paste is called Snowfall grit paste, and so that's what I use there. In my imagination, this little hedgehog crawled in through the top, because it doesn't have the 2-part lid on it, just the other part. It crawls in here and brings some fluff and makes himself a cozy little home to hide in the leaves in the winter. So that's how I imagined that scenario. Go back down. So that was day 1. Okay, now we can put these guys back. And then on this day, where's the peacock? Oh, I know. Okay, so this day is here. Day 14, and the prompt was a pattern and a matchbook and a peacock. And so I took a pattern piece, which you can kind of see it in here, and collaged it onto this piece of Tim Holtz scrapbook paper. And then the peacock is from the antiquarian sticker book. And then I just stuck it onto some cardstock to give it a little bit of substance, and then Mod Podged it and made a little matchbook notepad. So these are all great ideas that I can use going forward in the year when I make journals for my shop. So I have a little reference book of things that I've made in the past, and I don't have to think, now how did I do that? So now I remember. Okay, on this page, this is where's my little seahorse? Oh, here we go. Let's get these guys out. Okay, so on this page, this is day 13, and I was to use acetate, make a banner, and use a seahorse somehow. So I took some acetate and I colored it with alcohol ink to kind of look like the ocean, and I sprayed this piece of cardstock with, and I think it was a file folder actually, with some spray stain. I kind of wanted it to look like sand. And I made this mermaid paper doll. And then when you lift it up, then here's the seahorse underneath here. And then this part down here is melted embossing powder. So I have a video on how I did that. And then more eyelash trim for the seaweed. And a little poetry by Emily Dickinson. And then on this side, this was another combination, day 18 and day 19. So let's do 18 first. So day 18 was to make a handmade stencil and a notepad. So here's the little notepad, and it has a handmade stencil of the fish. And it's pretty lame. And I also made some seaweed. So there's more seaweed and fish back here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that was my lame attempt at making a stencil. I'm going to try that again, but better. And then also some fabric and a page tab and a snail. So, and the animal for this one was a fish, and that's why I made a stencil of a fish. So, and then the page tab is here with a little seahorse on it. And then this funky little snail was made out of fabric, and then I punched some circles, and can you see her eyelashes? There, now you can see her eyelashes. I think she looks so cute. Somebody suggested that I should name her Maybelline. So that's her name, Maybelline, for her eyelashes. And then I've got a couple of blank pages in here. I just used a map from an atlas. Let's do this. And then just did some spray inking and collaging. And I left the edge with the perforations in it. And then this page is just another collage page where I used some extra things like this tea bag. I made another little journal card with the tab. And this is actually a little journal sheet. And I used the tea bag tab as the topper. And then one of the prompts was for an owl, and I had pulled out this owl stamp. And then I ended up not using it, so rather than put it away, I just included it in this journal. Lots of extraneous things in this, but for me, that's kind of the fun of it. Okay, and on this one, we have a flamingo, and this was day 15. So the prompt was metal and a photo. So I made this journal card, and the metal is this little charm that is a seashell. I can get it. There we go. And then I fussy cut this little flamingo and added it to this altered paper clip. And then the photo just reminded me of my husband and I on our honeymoon. And then I made this little snippet strip and put an acetate pocket and stamped on it. I really like using the acetate pockets in this journal because that way I can still see what I made and I'm not hiding everything, even though it is kind of hiding. And then I had some extra toucans. This is from the antiquarian sticker book, and this is from a bird book that I have. And then I had, a lot of this stuff was just strewn all over my desk, and I didn't want to put it all away, so I just put it into the journal and kind of incorporated it. Some of the extra fabric from the snail and the grungy stuff, and I had a little bit more of the eyelash trim and some leaves. So, and then this is another tea bag. This was an experiment where I had stamped on the tea bag, and I ended up not using it in the original project, but I saved it and then just used it to make a page tab. Kind of the same thing here, where I just had this thing laying around. I had made this a long time ago and then never used it in anything, and I thought this journal would be a good place to use it. And then this one, is this the second to the last one? This is from day 9, and the prompt was a collage fodder and junk mail. And I interpreted that to mean collage a junk mail envelope. And I think what it was what it was really for was some actual junk mail, not just the envelope. But anyway, I collaged on this window envelope, and the animal was a partridge, and I found this in a bird book, and this is called a welcome partridge. So I thought that was really cool. And I put some leaves on it, and then I just tucked the little prompt card, the animal card, inside. I have a pocket here and a pocket here and a pocket here for this guy. And this is just a map that I collaged on and put on this. This is cardstock scrapbook paper, but I don't like the white inside, so I just collaged a map onto it and some napkin. And then this is the last one. This was day, where's the card? Day 10, and it was leaves in an envelope, and the animal was an owl. So I made this envelope, and I put some of these autumn leaves on it that I got at the Dollar Tree. And when you open it up, there's a notepad inside. It says make today count. And then I put in this little waterfall notepad. And there you have it, with a little gold button. I think the Dollar Tree has a lot of really cool items to use in junk journaling. This circle here was a label. So I had a bunch of metallic silver labels, like on a sheet that you can print on in your computer. But I used some alcohol ink on it just to see what would happen, and I really liked it. It looks like a moon. So I put it on this cluster and put an owl on the front of it, and I thought it came out kind of neat. Okay, there you have it. My big, huge, gigantic project. I'm going to put the owl back. And like I said, this really stretched my creative juices. And so if you have a chance to do junk journal or Dephemerember in December next year, I highly recommend it. And not only that, but there are all the videos that I made and that Barbara and Louisa made for Dephemerember, and everybody else who participated, they're all still there. So you can still get the inspiration from it. Just search YouTube or Instagram for the hashtag Dephemerember 2022, and I believe the prompt list is still available from on Louisa's channel and Barbara's channel at 49 Dragonflies. So anyway, so I hope you like this. This was just a ton of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And next, I'm a little late to do Junk Journal January, but I think I would like to do that again next year too. So anyhow, have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope you liked this, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment letting me know what you think of it, and if you think you might do junk or Dephemerember in the future, or even now, you can still do it now. So thanks again for watching, and I appreciate each and every one of you so much. And happy crafting, everybody. Let the serendipity find you. Let your imagination go. And I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.